Hey guys, this is Rusty again with Collector Auctions, and I've got a brand new CGC unboxing for you. Now this order right here, I've actually had back in the house here for a couple weeks. It came in when I was under the weather a few weeks ago, so I went ahead and opened it, take a look at what I got, because one of the things, I don't want to wait to get these boxes opened and then find out later that if I waited too long, if there's something wrong with one of the slabs or something, I want to make sure I open it as soon as possible so I can get it back into CGC. But I also knew that I'd have to film this eventually so you guys could see what I got. This order right here is one of the last orders that CGC had, that they were working on, that they had CCS working on, and literally took 14 months for this thing to come in. I mean, it went out last May, and I guess it was May. Yeah, it's been a long time. So really good order on this one right here. It had some nice books in here. It was a pre-screen. Now I was doing pre-screens even over a year ago, but I was having someone else work on the books. That's the big difference. And today I do my own cleaning and pressing. It gives me a chance to look at these books, go back to them if I feel like they need some more work. And I know that when you send it in the CCS, you pay for them to look at it a second time, and we may get a second press out of them, but after that, that's going to be about it. So I know what the grades are here, and I'll tell you, even the really good grades on this, I think some of them could have even been pushed up higher if they'd had just a little bit more care to them. I don't know if there's going to be value in some of these to pump up, to break out, and for me to go back and press again. I don't know if there's enough room in there for me to do that and have to pay for the grading all over again. But anyway, guys, let's just get into the order. I'll show you what I got. As I said, this was a pre-screen 9.8, and I also have to apologize because I literally just finished filming most of this video half hour ago when all of a sudden the monitor froze, and I'm going, oh great, what's going on? I'll have to film an ending to this. And turns out nothing filmed. The whole thing didn't tape at all. So I'm retaping this whole thing. So I'm kind of going to be rambling all over again here, and we'll see what we got. So anyway, let's start off with the first book in here. It is Batman 404. This is issue number 1 of the year 1, Frank Miller's story of the first year of Batman. And I have been lucky so far. I've gotten 2 copies of this back so far, both of them 9.8s. This is a 9.6, and I'm telling you, it is really clean. I was looking at this spine, this black, dark spine right here, and boy, is it clean. And kind of wonder if this had been graded, if a lot of these have been graded, let's say a month, maybe 2 months ago. I think that some of these 9.6s might have been 9.8s. It seems to me like the grading's gotten a lot tighter, and I don't know if that's because they're really being good about grading, or if they are just being oversensitive to certain things. Or maybe that you've gotten graders who are trying to prove that, look how good we can grade everything harshly. New graders, we know that they've hired a lot of new people. Who knows what their experience is. But most of these that are going to end up being 9.6s, I'm telling you, could really be 9.8s with maybe a little bit more of a push. Maybe it could have used one more clean and press, maybe just a little bit of work on this spine. If it turns out that there's a little crease right there, maybe that's all it needed. But regardless, we'll go through this, and I'll put up the grades, the values, the fair market values of all these books at these grades, what they currently are too. I'll put that on after I film this video, of course. But we got a 9.6 on issue number 1 of year 1. Now, also in this order, I had issue number 2. Now, this is the first time I've gotten issue number 2 back, and I've got, I want to say, yeah, it's the first one I've gotten back, and I got a 9.8 on that. I'm real happy about that. This puts me at 3 of the 4 year 1 stories at a 9.8. These are all PC books. These are books I want to have in my collection. These meant a lot to me back in college. I love the Dave Mazzarelli artwork. When I was a design student back in college, I took a course, actually it was an independent study on comics and sequential art, and part of that was recreating a master's artwork, and I had taken one of the pages from Dave Mazzarelli's Batman Year One and recreated it. I think I've got it in a cabinet actually sitting over there. I don't think I've ever finished inking it, but I definitely did the pencils to it and everything. So may have to ink that someday. Anyway, real good. So now I've got one more issue to go. I think it's the 4th issue I need to get as a 9.8. And I think I just got a couple of these copies back in a previous order where I got 9.6s on it. So I was close, but we weren't quite there. Okay, now here is one of my favorite comics. It's part of my favorite comics run, the Dark Phoenix Saga. Everybody loves this. I was really into the X-Men back in the day, back in 1980s when I was reading these issues. I loved the John Byrne stories, and this issue right here, and I think I've got another one in that storyline in here as well. These were not the original issues I had in 1980. These were ones I'd picked up, let's say, probably in about somewhere between 88 and 92. I'd went back and I started buying some of my favorite X-Men books as higher grade books because I knew I wanted good copies in my collection. All the ones I had from 1980, the original ones that I picked up, were all reader copies by this point. I still have them all, but they're definitely reader copies. I read the heck out of these books, and if you've followed me at all, if you watch all of my videos, you go back, you will see that I've been trying to collect every one of the John Byrne X-Men at least a 9.6. And I'm doing that because 9.6s are pretty affordable, whereas a 9.8 would be fantastic, yes, but the price on a 9.8, any of these issues, anyone from all the way from the first John Byrne, what was it, 107, 108, somewhere in there, all the way up to 143, can be real expensive as a 9.8. And the only way I'm ever going to get it really is going to be buying a roll and working on it and getting it up. Now, if this had been today, I would have pulled this book out, I would have worked on it myself, but this was over a year ago. CCS worked on it. They did a pretty good job getting this up to a 9.6. I'll have to really look at these and determine if I even an outside shot to get a 9.8 on this, is it going to be worth cracking this open? I don't know the answer to that at this point. But it's always definitely an option, right? Alright, now here is the first appearance of Apocalypse in cameo only. This is X Factor number 5. I got a 9.6 in this. I think somewhere along the way I got a 9.8 at some point, and I can't remember if I actually worked on it myself, but I know I've gotten a 9.6 before and a 9.8. Got a 9.6 on this one. But that's a nice minor key book right there. And I remember when I filmed this the first time, I remember looking at this and I'm going, yeah, it's pretty sharp. Most of these are pretty sharp. I mean, these are some of the best 9.6s you'll ever see. Okay, now I've got 2 of these in this order, and we'll go over the first one here. This is Batman The Dark Knight Returns number 2. And I got a 9.6 on this copy right here. It is really a clean copy. And if you know anything about these books, you cannot even read them. If you open up this cover at all, you're going to put a crease on the spine on this side and possibly even the back. And the back is even tougher with this solid blue. If you put any kind of a scuff on this at all, boy, does it pick it up quickly. And back in the day, back in 1986, I was buying these. All right, yeah, 1986. I was buying these right off the stand, and I was buying multiple copies of that. I remember it being $2.95. Boy, that was expensive. But I knew this was so special that I just kept going to the local Walden Books, where that was about the only place I could buy comics while I was in college at that point. And I'd go down there to the mall, go to Walden Books, and I'd buy these right off the stand. I mean, I literally buy probably had at least 3 to, well, I know it had at least 3. I would say probably 5 to 6 of each of these issues. So yeah, it's really nice. But I want to show you the next one, because this one, I actually got a 9.8 one, and that's spectacular. I think it's the first 9.8 on this one I've gotten. I did on issue 1 get a 9.8 eventually. It was a book, I don't know if I worked on it or not, I can't remember, but it was super clean. This one is super clean. It's just a beautiful back cover, and it's going to be kind of neat to take this issue, this copy, and put it next to the 9.6 and see what's the difference, because man, I tell you, I look at that 9.6 and it looks super spectacular. And this one obviously got the 9.8. I imagine it's probably something around the square bound edges right here on the spine. And that would be my guess, because there's definitely no scuffs on the back cover there on either one of those. Alright, continuing this right here is issue 363 of Spider-Man. I got a 9.6 on it. This one's a little disappointing because I wish I had held this book back to work on myself. It doesn't have a tremendous amount of value, and boy, in this year since I sent this in, we've had the Carnage movie, Venom with Carnage in it, of course, and the value on the Carnage 361 has really dropped. So of course 362, 363 have dropped as well. And this is a book, I gotten 9.8s on this when I pressed and cleaned them myself. I thought this was the best version of that. This is definitely a book. I think I could probably take this right now and break it out, and I could work on it. I could probably get this to a 9.8. But I'm sure at this point there's also no value in doing that at this time. And I've got another Spider-Man here. This is issue 569, the second book in New Ways to Die. Just this beautiful Spawn cover. And I remember seeing this when I went to my LCS and just like, oh my god, that's just crazy looking. I bought this for the cover. I mean, you got some great, I believe it's John Romita artwork too. But this right here, this cover was fantastic. This is the second copy of this I've gotten, but I've got 9.6s on both of them. So that's been a little disappointing. Like to get a 9.8 on these. I was trying to get on some of these variant villain covers on all of these New Ways to Die books, because I think I've got a couple more in some of the other orders as well. But yeah, this was a little disappointing. Yeah, again, we'll take a look at these. We'll take a look under better light, and we'll see if there's anything that can be done. We'll take a look at the values to see if it's even worth doing anything to. But all right, next up is an X-Men. This is 268. My second favorite Jim Lee X-Men book. My first one is 256 with Psylocke. But this one right here, like a lot of people, this is one of their favorite covers. Just a beautiful cover, beautiful Captain America on there. And I've gotten 9.6s on this before, ones that I cleaned and pressed. This one they got a 9.6. I've actually got this book in at CGC right now. I had gotten it signed by Chris Claremont down in Charlotte at the Heroes Con back in June, and now it is at CGC waiting for Jim Lee, the Jim Lee signing that they're going to do. And so I've got this issue, and I've got 256 in there as well, waiting for both of them to add their signatures to the book. So I'm hoping, boy, I'm really hoping, boy, that would be great to get a 9.8 on that, but I'm not going to count on it. My guess is it'll probably be a 9.6 or 9.4 probably by the time I'm done with everything. Just the way my luck's been going, the grading's been harder. But this is not the first time I've gotten a 9.6 on this particular issue. You kind of need a 9.8 on this to be any significant value. So another 9.6 on that one. It is what it is. Alright, got 2 books left in this order, and if I didn't say it earlier, this was a pre-screened 9.6 order. 25 books, so we're obviously going to have some Rawls if I've only got 2 books left. So we'll go over the Rawls too. We got some great Rawls in there, and I'm actually excited that they didn't get graded, because now it'll give me a chance to work on them myself and see what I can do to them. But I had a second X-Men from the John Byrne run. This is issue 134. This is the first appearance of Dark Phoenix. It's cameo for last page, but she's right there, big as life on the last page. And just absolutely just love the storyline, love this issue in particular. This was the issue that kind of flipped the script on what was going on. Dark Phoenix comes out, beautiful artwork. Another issue that I went back and bought later on, a better copy than my reading copy. Real happy with this. It's like, this is one of those, I don't have to actually go buy this now, unless I really want to push it and try to find that 9.8. But for my PC, I've got this now. So this makes me happy, just like the other issue. And who knows? Again, you never know if I'll break something out or not. All right, I've got one book left, and I am super stoked about this. And I'm telling you, it is a smoking hot book. It is a super clean spine, black spine, and I'm going, man, I wish there was greater notes on a 9.6, because this is what it is, a 9.6. I wish there was greater notes, because I'd be so tempted to break this out and try to push it up. But it is one of my favorite issues of all time. Tales of the Teen Titans number 44, the first appearance of Nightwing, Dick Grayson. Of course, Jericho is as Jericho. And to me, growing up, when I read this issue, I mean, yeah, there was Nightwing, but getting the origin of Deathstroke was, to me, that was the main thing. You know, learning the origins of Slade Wilson was fantastic. That right there was the best thing. But obviously, Nightwing origin, first appearance, that has become the key. This has been a great book. This was in the PC. This was the best copy that I had, and I had sent it in one of those original orders over a year ago to work on. I didn't have it to send in at the beginning of this year when there was still a chance to get George Perez possibly to sign. He was going to do one last signing, and I ended up having to go buy a copy of this to send into that, because I wanted to get another copy of that signed. In fact, I own one, actually. I own one of these signed by George Perez and Marv Wolfman. But there's definitely some color breaking creases over here and everything. Could be a better copy. And I was hoping to get a really good copy that I could send in and get George Perez. And I knew eventually they were doing a Marv Wolfman signing as well. But it would have been nice to have gotten George on that other issue. I ended up with a 9.6 on that because I went ahead and got it graded. I'm sorry. It was actually a 9.4. But it is what it is. You know, they canceled the signing and everything because of his health at the time. And but I went ahead and got it graded. This right here was been the copy that I probably would have sent in for that if I had still had it. But it was a CCS being worked on. They pressed this thing. It looks fantastic. It looks fantastic. This spine, there is no color breaks down this spine at all. It is super clean. I'm telling you, this is a book that I may be tempted to break out and maybe try to clean it up just a little bit more, just give it a little touch and send it back in, because to me this is a candidate right here for a 9.8, not just a 9.6. So it is what it is at the moment, and I will put values up of what these books are, and I'll do some research and I'll see if there's going to be room for me to possibly break anything out. But this is book right here, man, if you get a 9.8 on that, that would be really, really nice. Just like all these books, though. I mean, come on, all these books, you want these 9.8s. Sometimes you can, you know, you want that on all of them, of course, but there's times when you're going to be realistic and you look at them. Some of my orders, you'll look at them and I'll be complaining that they got 9.4s. Well, I'm complaining, it's like I didn't think they'd get 9.8s, but at least 9.6s. And I can look at the defects on there, and I can tell that it's like, okay, you're still not going to get a 9.8. You're not going to bump it 2 grades. You may be able to bump it 1. Is it going to be worth it? In a case like this, well, you better be spot on before you start, you know, breaking them out. Anyway, I'm rambling. Let's go over the raws. As I said, I'm really super excited about getting these raws back and having the chance to work on them again. And these are nice books. These are really nice books. And, you know, as I start to pull them up, I'll take a quick look, but I'll show you what I got. This is X-Men 130. Of course, the first appearance of Dazzler. This is a book that probably won't go back into the circulation at some point, but X-Force number 1. It is not a super valuable book. The X-Men, some of these X-Men will be though, X-Men 133, this is the first solo Wolverine cover, sort of his solo adventure, as he's the only person who escaped the Hellfire Club. And yeah, there's absolute beautiful issue. X Factor number 6, first full appearance of Apocalypse. Iron Man 150, this is the story of him, Iron Man and Dr. Doom. They go back to the medieval times. They're part of Merlin's and Camelot and everything. Interesting storyline. I've also got issue 100 of Iron Man. I had another issue of 405 Batman. This is of course the second issue. I got one upgraded. You saw the earlier one at a 9.6. This one did not make it. Yeah, see, a little bit of color rub. Yeah, I don't know if I was not really paying attention to how good or what the defects were. I mean, today, over a year and a half later, really paying attention to these defects, I've got a better eye. I felt like a lot of these could have been improved, but I didn't know enough to know if they really could be improved that much. And I was relying on that pre-screen. I guess even today I still rely on that pre-screen a little bit. We got issue number 3 of Batman Dark Knight Returns. And still some other good issues in here. We got issue 141 of X-Men. Of course, the Tales of Future Past. Always one of my favorite covers of all time. I remember having this in high school and recreating this in pencil. X-Men 135, first full appearance of Dark Phoenix, first cover. I always love this cover. This cover right here is one of my favorites of all time. We had an X-Men 132. You can see what this order was. It was most of my favorite X-Men John Byrne books. And here's 142, the second part of Tales of Future Past. And then to wrap it up, I had 2 copies of Spider-Man 365. This is the first appearance of Spider-Man 2099. It was I think an 8-page preview that they put in here, but come on, it was 8 pages of the storyline. You have him right there. So it came from issue number 1 of his issues of his comics. So there it was. This is really the first appearance. So that is what didn't make the grade. As I said, I'm kind of excited about getting these back and getting a chance to get them into the shop and work on them myself now. And we'll probably get my guess is that every one of those X-Men will go back out again. I don't know if it'll be part of a pre-screen. I know that I really want to get them into at the very least a 9.6, but I'd be happy even at 9.4. There is value in those X-Men at a 9.4. That's the difference between a year ago and today, is that I will look at a pre-screen, I will look at those values, and I will see at what point there is it isn't worth getting graded. And sometimes I'll set that pre-screen on a book, even though I think it's better than that, but just as a safeguard. And I'm sort of changing what I'm doing that as well. But anyway, we'll work on these books. We will go through the process and look into these again, and we'll see about submitting, and we'll get them back in someday. Anyway, guys, that is it. Quick video. Well, it's not that quick, I guess, but I wanted to get these books and show them to you. As I said, it's one of the last orders I've got coming in. That came in from CCS. At this point, I've got one order left that's actually on its way. It will be the last order that CGC, CCS will have worked on. At this point, every order that goes in will be books that I work on, or who knows, I may end up having to have somebody work on some books someday. I know I've got some really good early Silver Age books from Marvel that I don't know if I actually want to really get into working on them myself. They're very delicate, so I may actually have to get somebody to work on those. But for the most part, I'll do 98% of the books myself, I'm sure. So anyway, guys, that is it for today. If you enjoyed this video, please hit the thumbs up. I should say, yeah, hit the thumbs up, hit the like button. Please subscribe to the channel. The channel is growing every day. We're over 430 subs at this point. And it's just a channel where we can talk about these books. You guys can watch my process, and I'm hoping you get something out of that, and you can apply it to your own collecting, and hopefully you get something out of it. But I enjoy doing this, and I enjoy talking to you guys. So I hope you enjoyed today's video. Just remember, every comic has a story, and I hope you enjoy the story of my comics and my adventures with them. So guys, take care, and I will see you for the next one. Take care.